Hello, I'm Scott,
And I'm Jonathan.
and you're listening to Drive Node Selector. This is episode number 5.
Episode 5.
Yes, we're doing another one. Can you believe it?
No. But yes.
And
So, what
on
are
this,
we talking about this week?
yeah, on this episode, we'll be talking about cars that we saw this week
Oh.
and high performance vehicles. Yeah,
And some of the events that we went to.
Yes.
Including one that we went to yesterday.
exactly. So, back to my original question.
Yeah.
What were some of the vehicles that you saw this week?
Ooh, well, on Wednesday, I saw a silver F430 outside Quiznos. I got a good picture, good money shot as I was leaving Quiznos on my way back from work. Quick dinner.
Nice.
And the guy went around the parking lot, hit the street, Highway 10, higher speed limit. So I had a nice exhaust sound on the way out. That classic Ferrari V8 wail that you don't quite get anymore. And I think on that same day, I saw a white first-gen Audi R8 V8 with the gated manual parked outside Nando's briefly. So, and that was cool. I think we went to the auto show back in like maybe 2007 or something.
Yeah.
Where I can't remember when it was released, but I was at the Vancouver Auto Show when they revealed the Audi R8, and I got to sit in one. So
Nice.
more spacious than a TT. That's for sure. That was my takeaway.
That's cool.
Pretty nice.
So the only thing I remember about old Vancouver auto shows is the Ford Transit, but that's a topic for another day.
The Ford Transit Connect is an entire episode. But I digress.
Yes.
There was another car I checked out today, or not today, but this week. One of these.
Ah, the Viper.
The Viper. Not quite the OG, but the OG for me, the second gen Viper GTS. I actually, there's one for sale, $60K Canadian. And I actually messaged the guy and went and checked it out. The rear tires on the car are 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and you wonder why people crash these cars. It's because they don't change their tires.
That's
Why don't they
unreal.
change their tires? Because they're 335 millimeters wide, and it's hard to find 335s for a 17-inch wheel.
Understandable.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like, anyway. I got to sit in it, and I also got to sit in it and have the guy drive me around the parking lot. And he gave it a bootful. That was cool. So that was a hero met for sure. And, they're not the nicest cars in the world, but they're pretty cool. So it would be still on the list, I would
Nice.
say.
Still makes the cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it makes the cut. I think they're cool.
Cool.
And it was the spec as well. Blue with white stripes. So
Ah, very classic. Yeah.
I don't. You know what? As I get older, I don't think I can do the stripes. I think I have to do a non-stripe, but it would be a
Yeah.
second gen. Second gen would be the way to go.
Cool,
Hard
cool.
top. Got to be able to lock those doors. So, how about you?
Well, just as a segue before we get into that, whenever I see Ferraris around, like in a parking lot, I ask myself, does that person daily their Ferrari? I wonder. But yeah.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
Sure would. But yeah, this week I did not see a lot of cars driving around because I was working from home for most of the week. However, on our trip to our event there that we were going to, there were a lot of European cars, a lot of British cars around. So spotted a few of them there. Like we saw a TR6, blue TR6.
Yep.
As well as MG GT. So that was pretty cool. It's always cool to see like these little British
old
cars
stuff.
around, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And just like how small the form factor was back then. So
Yep.
yeah, it was interesting. So,
You know the weather's nice when the MGs come out.
Yeah.
That's like the sign of spring. And you see drop top MGs come out of their sheds.
So yeah, I'm speaking cryptically about this event that we went to.
Oh, what's this event that we went to?
That would be Smoke, Fire, and no.
Earth, Wind, and Fire? Smoke, Fire, and Thunder at Mission Raceway Park.
Yes.
The Titanium Strip, presented by Lordco, brought to you by Lordco. I don't know. This is probably main sponsor. So, have you seen drag racing before?
I had never seen drag racing.
At this level? This level, Scott?
Definitely not at this level. I think you and I went probably about 10 years ago, and that was the
Friday Night Street
stuff.
Legals?
Yeah.
Were you there when I ran my bike?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 13 years ago. Yeah.
Gosh, getting old.
Not too old to drag race, though.
Yeah.
There was a guy there who, I think he was in Door Slammers, who started racing in 1969.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You're never too old
Yeah.
to go drag racing at Mission Raceway.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Made a career out of it, basically.
Well, we'll see. Can you make money? Maybe in the U.S. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
So what was racing? What is Smoke, Fire, and Thunder?
So
Once a year, big event.
Yeah. So there's a quarter mile and an eighth mile racing.
Yep.
And there's fuel altered vehicles.
Yep.
So that would be like nitromethane vehicles, that kind of thing. Yep.
And we had jet cars.
Jet cars as well, which was pretty cool.
Pro Mod.
Yep.
Which is like just below funny car in terms of performance. No nitromethane in Pro Mod, but that's like it's basically like the top level of non-nitromethane cars. There's Nitro Harley.
Right.
Which is probably one of the most ridiculous road vehicles, if you can call it that. Like, it's a pretty big stretch to call that thing a vehicle. It's more like a bomb that's with a guy wearing armor and sitting on a wheel. Mm-hmm. Like, so ridiculous.
Yeah, and then there's also X275.
Yep.
So that's 275 millimeter radial tires.
Yep, and that are DOT approved.
Street
Technically,
tires.
X275 is kind of like Pro Mod on street tires, which is it's crazy to think about. Like, maybe, I'll bet some of these cars are insured for driving on the street. Like, 2,000 horsepower car. Street car. 2,000 horsepower street car.
That's wild.
How many people daily their X275s versus Ferrari owners? What do you think?
Solid question.
This is a question that demands an answer that we do not have the answer to today.
No.
So
I guess as a disclaimer, some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, we're definitely not experts.
We're not experts at drag racing.
We're just two noobs learning about drag racing, right?
Yeah.
So
just getting into it.
Yeah.
I personally have drag raced 3 times now. I'm still not. The Mustang is still not. I'm still not able to match the stock numbers, but I think still a little bit of skill issue, a little bit of car issue, of course. But
understandable.
Yeah. What were some of the highlights of Smoke, Fire, and Thunder? We had there was a record set yesterday.
That's right.
So let's get into some numbers here. The Fireball Camaro, driven by Ryan Martin, set a record at Mission Raceway yesterday. And we saw it. That was the gray Camaro. There's mid-afternoon, Saturday, that it ran on its own at the start of that class, like around 3-4 o'clock or something. And eighth mile, 3.65 ET, and at 218 miles an hour. 300 kilometers an hour in an eighth mile.
That's insane.
And also in a non-nitromethane car.
Yeah.
So that is like Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I feel like, when you see like drag racing on TV, it really doesn't do it justice from what it is in real life. Like when you see the car and it's there, and 3 seconds later it's at the end of the track, and it's just like the engine is like making so much noise that it's thumping in like your stomach and stuff. It's just like it's a completely different feeling. Right?
Yeah.
And it really makes you appreciate like sort of the engineering and all the stuff that goes into it, right? So it's pretty cool. So I would say if you've never gone drag racing before,
Go watch a race.
Go watch a race for sure.
It was only $30 a person.
Yeah.
And also we got to like $30, you show up, you can just walk around the pits, go look at the cars, and often the owners are pretty friendly. Mm-hmm. we also met someone who was he was done for the day. He was competing in X275. As we were walking back. I think we were walking back to watch the Fuel Altereds go, or like make our way back to be in the bleachers in time to see some fast cars run. But we got talking with Bob from
Alberta.
Bob from Berta. His race car, 9th gen F-150. 90s F-150. That was sitting around 1,800 horsepower with a 427 LS. So that is a 7-liter, which is a small block V8. I don't know how it works.
7-liter small block.
7-liter
Doesn't
small
make
block
sense to me.
with the centrifugal. And some other, there's some work that went into that car for sure.
Yeah.
But looks like a pickup truck that's slammed and has skinny front tires, but it's a full tube frame race car with like the stock doors, stock glass. The front looked like a pickup truck, but it's like a composite takeoff, just like one part. Mm-hmm. It still had like the steel bedsides on the back, but he had a carbon fiber panel over top of the box, and there's no box left, like, to be fair. Also, the rules for the class dictate that he has to have the stock frame. So he built the car last year?
I think this year. I think he said like he started October 18th and it was done by May.
Yeah.
Yeah, so half a year.
Yeah. And it's a chromoly tube frame race car. It's a pro mod, basically, except he kept the frame and just bolted it to the bottom of the car so that he could race an X275. Like the frame of the truck, the original frame, doesn't do anything. It's bolted to the roll cage, right, which is the new frame, the new tube frame of the truck. So, but yeah, we got to sit in it.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, never sat in a race car before, so
never sat
like
in a race car.
It's nice to have that. First time, I guess. Right? It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Can you imagine sitting at the start line with the whole thing?
Absolutely not, man. Yeah.
I feel like that's the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like in theory, it would be cool, but I'm like, I don't have the reaction time for that. I don't have the fine motor skills.
So you just hold a button, put your foot down, and then you let go of the button.
Oh, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you try and drive straight.
Yeah.
And then you have to remember your chute.
Right. At the end.
Yeah. And hope your car doesn't blow up. I feel like it's a lot of wrenching.
Definitely.
Running a race car is a lot of work. So, yeah, what else did we see?
Yeah, I mean, we saw funny cars, which we kind of mentioned before.
Or fuel altered.
Fuel altered, right. Yeah.
There's like a smaller than funny car.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit of the smell, a little bit of the burnt nitro smell. Mm-hmm. Kind of smells a little bit like gunpowder. And a little bit of the sting. Just a little bit.
Eyeball sting.
Just a little bit. But yeah, we'll make sure that we get you in for your nitromethane baptism. See you fire up, and like if 218 miles an hour in the 8th is like fast, that's record for pro mod.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that the top fuel cars do is like truly next level. You got a few stats written down?
Yeah. For sure. We got some fun facts, right?
Fun facts about the top level of drag racing.
Yeah, so, the first fact that we have here is after the car has moved one wheelbase, this is for top fuel dragsters.
Top fuel dragster.
It will be going 100 miles an hour in one wheelbase.
Yeah.
And
launch. And that's
the wheelbase is about 7 meters.
Yeah.
7 to 8 meters. So
from a standstill, once the car has gone 7 meters, it's going 160 kilometers an hour. They're as loud as a fighter jet, like depending on the fighter jet. Probably louder than some fighter jets.
Oh yeah.
And I just went to the Abbotsford Air Show, so like I was like, yeah, top fuel kind of has a bit of an edge here. Like F-18 is loud, but it doesn't, and it shakes you, but I guess I wasn't like 50 feet from an F-18 at full afterburner, but yeah, top fuel is really something else. That will like aggressively shake your body when those things go past. So they make at full throttle, they make 800 to 1,100 pounds of downforce just from the exhaust. Can you imagine? Just like half a ton pushing you into the ground just from your exhaust.
Nice, clean, and smooth. Spencer up to the number 6 spot. Ron up to number 3. The two best runs of the round. A Nitro Funny car. Ron Capps goes 3.917. It's the second quickest run all day behind only Austin Brock's 391 with a 4th earlier.
It's so crazy.
So yeah, it's interesting. And like I think we sort of covered this before, but the top fuel can go like up to 550 kilometers an hour in 1,000 feet.
Yeah, so, yeah. They race to 1,000 foot because they're going pretty fast these days. And yeah, they routinely go like less than 4 seconds to 1,000 feet, and they're routinely going over 550 kilometers an hour in that space. And like, if the launch is aggressive enough, like, these are cars that do not have transmissions. It's an engine, a clutch pack, and final drive wheels. And like the wheels deform, they like squish and stretch out, and that changes your effective ratio too. Like as the wheel goes from like being fat to tall and skinny over the course of the run, like from the speed, there's just a centripetal force pulling the rubber apart. And like, I guess like by the end, the top of the tire is almost breaking the sound barrier. 1,000 kilometers an hour, like, you know, because the top of the tire is going, the bottom of the tire is in like an instantaneous snapshot time frame. The very bottom of the tire is not moving, but the top of the tire is moving twice as fast as you, the driver, are, or as the rest of the car is, right? In that instantaneous snapshot. So the top of the tire by the 1,000-foot mark is going 1,100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I never actually thought about that, but yeah, it's so true.
And it's an open wheel car.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy when you see these cars in person. You're like, that looks like a go-kart that has been heavily modified. But like, you look at a go-kart, you're like, engine, clutch, drive shaft, wheels. You look at a top fuel car, engine, clutch, drive shaft, wheels. Like, I actually have a few, I didn't tell you this before we recorded, but I have a few show and tell items to show you.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, as you're digging those out, I did find it interesting that, you know, you had mentioned to me that these cars don't have coolant systems.
Yeah.
I just kind of assumed, like, why wouldn't it have a coolant system?
All this
of course
horsepower,
it is,
all
right?
this heat.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you cool the engine?
Yeah, but you just don't. Because it's just running for 20 seconds. So why have a cooling system?
Yeah,
right?
you just run it and then shut it off.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm like...
Coolant, running a water pump, that saps horsepower. And, like, with that level of power, like, you don't think about it in absolute terms necessarily. Like this is like the ultimate version of, like, you know, you're driving like a crappy car, an old crappy car. I mean, an old, like, really cool car that you turn the AC on, you know, you feel it on the highway. You feel it kind of like, got to give it, like, you know, say you have like a really gutless car. You're like, I have to turn my AC off to make it up a hill at 100K an hour because the car doesn't have enough power to do it. That is like a percentage of the car's total power is going to do something, right? To doing something other than propelling you forward. So if you have a water pump, maybe that's like 1%, say. I'll just like make up numbers. But if it's 1% of your car's total power is going towards driving a water pump, well, if you're making 12,000 horsepower, right? Like, you're losing 120 horsepower just to driving a water pump. You don't want that. So get rid of the water pump.
Efficiency gains.
Huh?
Efficiency gains.
Yeah, it's efficiency gains. So
nice.
This is
cool.
A valve from a top fuel drag car.
Wow.
Yep. They sell the parts because they can't use them again. Like, this valve probably did one run. It was probably used for warm up, burnout, run. Maybe like the very most, this valve performed work for like 2 minutes, maybe. And like not at full throttle, but like the total work this valve ever performed in its life was like a cumulative 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Under power, like 4 seconds. Under full power, 4 seconds, and it's done. Look at the bottom.
Carbon.
Bit of melt.
Right.
The metal, it was starting to melt.
Right. And that was another thing that you had mentioned was like they're always running the motor at the limit or just past the limit, right? And it's like
that's something Bob was saying is for, you know, it's like if this say say like a connecting rod is rated for a certain amount of power, like a transmission is rated for a certain amount of torque or something, right? It's like, well, in drag racing, when you're really competitive, you're actually running the materials beyond their rated limit. And so you're like deep into the wear zone, into the plasticity of the material. And like, yeah, you're actively like breaking stuff. So, but you're like, just that hairline before breaking stuff. That's where the winners are, Scott.
Absolutely.
So, it's not the only thing I brought.
Okay.
If that's a valve, this is a piston.
I knew that was going to be next.
Look at that.
That's a massive connecting rod.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
So on like a high performance street engine, you'd have like forged steel connecting rods and like maybe a forged aluminum piston. This is the other way around. They have a steel piston because if you did aluminum, it would just blow up. It's like they literally can't use aluminum pistons in Top Fuel because they just break them. Like the car might not even idle. There's so much force in that chamber that they have to use steel. It's so tall, too. And then they just use an aluminum. If you use an aluminum conrod, you get less. There's less
weight.
There's less weight they have to spin around.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that aluminum conrod like compacts and gets shorter throughout the run. Like you probably even like lose. I don't know. This is pure speculation, but I would not be surprised if like a Top Fuel car lost like, in like ratio terms, like 0.1 to 0.2 to 1 compression after a run. Just from the like aluminum, unless I don't know how any of that works, but it seems like that's something that's not going to last,
Definitely.
But they make that choice to get the maximum power, the absolute maximum power within the rules, which is like an encyclopedia. So, yeah.
How many runs would that have lasted?
I don't know. Like they tear down the engine and rebuild it after every run. But they still reuse parts. So, but those parts have to be measured before they're reused. So, spark plugs, I think they just replace them every run. They run 2 spark plugs per cylinder, 16 spark plugs. And the spark plugs essentially are destroyed. Not like even before the end of the run. They're like practically gone because they put 40 amps of current through the spark plugs. And if you drop a spark plug, you blow up the engine. Because, like, if you don't ignite the mixture, then you have fuel left over in the piston. And then you have the next, gob of fuel thrown in. And it might hydrolock, because they put so much fuel in. That's, like, that was another thing that we were talking about before we recorded was, like, nitromethane versus gas. Oh, nitromethane is so powerful. Well, gas has more energy per volume than nitromethane, and gas burns quicker. So why would you want nitromethane? Well, you can shove, gas. You've heard, what's 14.7 to 1?
Yep.
Stoichiometric ratio. It's a ratio, that sweet spot of like, you have a certain amount of air and a certain amount of gasoline. That's the sweet spot for like getting a controlled combustion event. With nitromethane, you can fire hose that stuff in. You can fill they basically fill the entire cylinder with nitromethane and light it off. And because there's still technically a stoichiometric ratio, but it's not like a peak. It's more like a mound. So you can go deep into the rich, into the rich end, and that makes more power. It's not efficient, but it's effective, and it also helps as cooling.
Yeah,
just running more nitro helps cool the engine.
Right.
So
Why use a coolant system when you can use nitro?
That's what I've been telling my wife. So, yeah, that's a little bit of. So they did not. I mean, they did have nitro cars at whatchamacallit, Smoke, Fire, and Thunder, but just the fuel altered cars, short chassis. But earlier I'd gone down to that was from the Muckleshoot Casino sponsored Northwest Nationals in Seattle. So that was my first experience with the real deal. So we should go down. We should go down next year.
Next year for sure.
Do some see some the kings of drag racing, as they're called. So Top Fuel, and then also seeing Funny Car. So it's cool to see these. It's cool to see the race cars in their natural habitat.
Yeah, definitely. I think like as another anecdote from yesterday, it was like, you know, I thought it was pretty cool that you could just go around and walk around the pits and just talk to people, right? Like, let's think about, you know, other like motorsports like F1. Like, hell no, you're going to be you're going to walk around the pits, right?
Tom Cruise.
I'm
sure even he has to.
Maybe Brad Pitt gets a free pass for being in the movie. But,
but you know, next year he's got to make another movie. You know, F1. Yeah, it's almost like the opposite. You know, F1 is
totally locked out
of access in that sense. Where that is definitely like one of the cool things about drag racing is you see a very wide variety of cars, and you not only watch them race, right? And it's great if you have a short attention span. You're like, oh, okay, you know, you saw it happen. But you can walk around the pits. You can talk to people. You can talk to the racers. Like, people have stuff for sale. Literally, when we talked to Bob, the first thing he said to me was like, "You want to buy it?"
And you answered?
Oh, there's a part of me that's always yeah. So, but it's the amount of access, and it feels grassroots, you know. And I really, it's by design, you know, to keep it open, and also it's a very, like, there's a lot of enthusiasm and like passionate people behind drag racing, like especially in Canada where we don't have like the sponsors and whatever, and like parts are more expensive. You know, we don't have as many people doing this, so just like, you know, you don't have the same margins as in the US.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. It's cool that it's very like community driven, I guess, if you could say.
Yeah.
So,
and Mission Mission also does a good job of like, they're like, we're family friendly, you know. We like they do a good job of keeping it open to people to just like our friend showed up with he brought his like, you know, 3-year-old daughter, and just there's a lot of parents with their kids there and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I guess like, well, you were down in Seattle, you were able to just walk around the pits as well, right? Same deal.
It's
not
the
like
same deal. Yeah.
It's not different in Canada or America. It's all the same across the board.
I literally talked to, like, I briefly said hi to Clay Milliken, who's like very like top level professional dragster or drag racer. He races like Top Fuel dragster. So, and I talked to a couple people who were like supporting like Funny Car also. So, but yeah, it's also to see the cars get rebuilt in real time by the pros, you know, and see the cars get fired up and whatever. So it's certainly a spectacle.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet yesterday watching them like work on that. I think it was a Top Fuel one.
Or fuel altered.
Oh yeah. It just like, I don't know, just taking it apart. They're underneath it, whatever, getting it ready for the next race later on in that night. So
if you're interested in mechanical stuff, like walking around, the pits for, you know, at a drag strip is definitely very cool. So, but
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to sit in a race car, but you also sat in another race car recently.
Oh yeah. Not so much a race car as a drift missile today. So yeah, if I feel like history will reveal that if American muscle, really, the Detroit horsepower wars and all that really spawned drag racing, professional drag racing. I think the import scene really spawned drifting, and I sat in a proper drift missile from the island that my colleague bought from Vancouver Island today.
And what did he buy?
He bought the legend, the only AE86.
And is he gonna start
Takumi,
delivering
he's
tofu?
He's out there delivering tofu. He's got, he's spilling a little bit of water right now. I've got him at like half full water cup in the cup holder. We're working on it. We're doing a mountain pass tonight. I'm gonna chase him with a Subaru 22B, which at this point costs $400,000.
Jeez,
not happening.
Yeah.
Fake news. But yeah, no, it's the car's like, it's definitely cosmetically rough. There's also some kind of issue with the charging system. So we were driving around today, and it was like, it kind of developed a rough idle at an intersection, and I was like, that's interesting. And like behind us was a couple in a C5 Corvette, convertible, and I was like, oh man, they just think we're chumps. And then the engine died, wouldn't even crank. I was like, this is not good. So get out, both of us out in the middle of this intersection, like waving cars, like go around us or like just wait. Pushed it into a bus, a little like bus pullout. Tried to get it started, still didn't work. So like, let's try and bump start it. Thank goodness manuals. Am I right? This will save us. The manual will save us. We saved the manual, and now the manual will save us, won't it? Pushed it into this parking lot and gave it a good push down the hill. I tried to pop it in second, and it's like the engine is fully like spinning at 1,000 RPM. Push the clutch in, it's not on. Try again. Nothing. Like, could not get it started. So we actually, like, his dad had to come in a Mercedes. This is a scene. Brand new Mercedes SUV jump starting an A86. Like a 41-year-old car. This is an 84. It's an 84 Corolla that's been swapped, like fully GTS swapped. So
is it the white on black or?
It's red.
Oh, it's red.
So
okay, cool.
I'm not one to name other people's cars, but in my mind, I think of it as the red Panda.
Nice.
Which I think is very fitting.
Yeah.
But
dude, 100%.
Yeah. So it's it's a very interesting car. Like it's a little bit overwhelming to just drive it even at low speed. Like, I'm not even talking about the clutch or anything. Just the sensory information coming to you directly is like you get none of this anymore. You didn't even get this in 1984 with that car because it's been so heavily modified, right? But it's, it makes my car feel like a Tesla. It's so ridiculous.
Gosh, I gotta ride in this thing. I want to see what
it's
like.
You do. Honestly, there's more room in the rear seats than in my car.
Yeah, in your Mustang.
In my Mustang, yeah. Not the Suzuki, but the Mustang. I always do the rear seat test. It's pretty impressive.
Nice.
So, and that's what you get when you don't have crash regulations. You'd probably die if we got T-boned by someone. Might die.
Yeah.
I mean, hospital, right? So, but no, it was very cool. That it has a Cusco two-way limited slip in the back, and it's like full on popping and banging, you know, as it engages and disengages the wheels from each other. You know, 5-speed manual, of course, but I don't know the exact gear ratio. But if you complained about your car being, what was your car again? Your final drive is like 460.
Yeah, it's high.
460. Yeah. This is like 470 something, like almost 480.
Wow.
Like, yeah. I don't know, and I don't know like how the gear ratios. I mean, obviously the tires are smaller, and then the gear ratios are going to be different in that 5-speed versus yours, probably. You know, but still, on the highway, 5th gear, 3,500 RPM. At 100K. Jeez. At 100K an hour. Like my car, 1,550. You know, and your car, what, 3,200?
Yeah, about 32.
And then even if I do 410s, 410 final drive on my car, I'd be at 2,000 RPM at 100K. So I'm like, this is nothing. 410s are nothing.
Yeah, dude, that's nothing at all.
Got to do it.
Yeah. I'm like up here in the 4,000s when I'm going like 120. Not that I drive that fast.
Officer. Yeah. Except in Mexico. That one time that I drove it in Mexico. So yeah. I do wonder if we could find, I'll bet there's stock gearing or even aftermarket gearing for your car.
Oh yeah, definitely. Such a huge like mod scene, right? There's got to be something.
Yeah, just put something a little taller in there. Yeah. Like you don't want it so tall that it's like, you know, first gear winds you is like idling at like 20 kilometers an hour or something, right? Like, and you want it to still like feel fun, right? Because having shorter gearing makes the car accelerate faster, right? And you have more torque in each gear, you just run out of RPM faster. So it's a trade-off. And the drag race guys, they know all this stuff, you know? Like they gear the car for an 1/8 mile, but they gear the car differently for a 1/4 mile. So like if a pro mod was going to run to a 1/4 mile, they could change their final drive and, you know, maybe some other things. But it's like...
Well, that was an interesting thing that Bob said, right? He's like, because his car the truck only had 2 gears.
Oh yeah. Right? His I mean, it's a pro mod chassis, but he's competing in X275, and he was running the 2-speed because it used to be turbocharged. He had a turbo car, and then he switched to a centrifugal. And that's interesting because a turbocharger is an exhaust driven supercharger, or a turbocharger is an exhaust driven centrifugal supercharger. And then a centrifugal supercharger, like common ones are ProCharger, makes a lot of centrifugals. This guy had a Vortec, but all of them are centrifugal superchargers. That is a belt driven turbine. You know, the intake side looks the exact same, a centrifugal supercharger versus a turbocharger. And that actually, when they made turbochargers back in the day, they called them turbo superchargers because it's a exhaust-driven turbine driving a supercharger, a centrifugal supercharger, or it's a centrifugal compressor, basically. So, that's another episode.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
And so with the turbocharger, very broadly, generally speaking, builds boost with load. So if you're asking for 20%, no matter where you are in the rev range, you have 20%, you know, again, very heavily air quoted boost.
Yeah.
If you have a giant turbo on a small engine, it doesn't build boost until much later in the RPM range. But still, there's the spool up time, and there's other things that affect the amount of boost that you make. But with his setup, he could have more boost at a lower RPM, so he doesn't need to divide the torque applied to the wheels. He doesn't need to divide that out with more gears. But now that he has a centrifugal supercharger, he only gets boost by RPM. So if he's at 6,000 RPM, like the compressor, the air compressor itself, the centrifugal compressor, only makes max boost at max RPM. And so if you're below max RPM, you don't get your max boost. Like what you want with a turbocharger is you want it to make the rated boost as early as possible. So like modern cars, you know, my wife's Accord is a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it probably makes max boost around 2,000, 2,500 RPM, right? And it just keeps it at whatever 8 PSI, 10 PSI, like whatever it is. And then you get a nice flat torque curve. So like the force applied to the wheel is constant. And you run out your RPM range. So, but with his car, it's like what he was saying was he has to slip his torque converter to let the engine stay in the boost range. Like he needs to stay within a tighter RPM range because he doesn't have that wider, flatter torque curve of his previous turbocharged application. But he doesn't have to wait for the car to build boost, right? So you saw the two buttons on the wheel. That's another thing. When his car was turbocharged, he would have to sit at the line, build boost, and then bump the car forward, where it releases the trans brake for a split second when you push a button. And so you're sitting at like the engine. If it were to apply force to your wheels, would be at its max power, or it would not at its max power, but it would be at its launch power, right? And you need to keep it there, otherwise the turbochargers spin down, they wind down, and then you're not making your boost, so you can't launch. So he has to sit at launch power, and then briefly apply force to the wheels. Right. So it's like going like this with the clutch, pop, 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 and you see the cars like buck and like jump forward against the brakes even. Yeah. It's like kind of violent to see a turbo car like inch forward at a line, because you pre-stage, right? Pre-stage, wait for the other guy to pre-stage, and then you stage. And when you stage, you have to be ready to go. You can't stage and then wait. Oh, sorry, wait. I'm going to wait and build, my boost now. But so with the centrifugal, he doesn't have to bump forward anymore. He can just go up to the line, go to his launch RPM, and he has, he's at his power. But with only 2 speeds, if he launches at, if he runs out, he depending on his gearing, like if he can it's called getting out of the hole, getting a good launch without bogging down. You're out of the hole now into second gear, and he might run out of gear and be hitting the limiter before the end of the 8th mile if he's geared too short, right? So he has to manage that spacing with the 2 gears, but it's really only because he's going from a turbo to a centrifugal. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's like
it's a great explanation. I feel like I learned something today. This is the kind of some of the stuff that gets lost in translation on me. So
yeah. We're all nerds here.
Yeah,
we're all learning.
But yeah,
so
that's cool. Anything else? I guess there was one question. Would you daily a car that's been modified for performance?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like, on that note, we'll start with the AE86.
Sure.
So there's a few things working here. The car is street drivable. It's street legal. If we drove it through Kitsilano, you'd probably get a Box 1 VI. But no one around here is going to ticket the car, right?
Yeah.
It's just an old, semi-loud car. It's not even super loud, honestly. It has a MagnaFlow, like, you know, barely street legal exhaust. Probably not street legal, but, or like, you know, when you look underneath the car, you're like, this guy was probably running this with like a MagnaFlow straight through exhaust, a tiny one, and just a straight pipe. But he also has a cat on it now and a muffler. So there's like, and there's a resonator further up. So there's like 4 weird cylinders lumped in series, like hard mounted to the chassis. There's no hangers because the car is low. Mm-hmm. So if you have hangers, the exhaust might bounce and scrape. So it's just hard mounted, which does wonders for your NVH. It's amazing. It's honestly amazing. You know, actually thinking about that, you could probably just like run some rubber washers underneath the bolts to the frame, and it would kill some of the NVH.
Yeah, absorb some of the noise.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like you don't need to run rubber hangers. You just need a little bit of isolation. So the 4AGE 1.6 liter fuel injected inline 4 is not known to be a torquey engine. I had a 1987 MR2. It had the same engine. They're not fast, really, like by modern standards. They're like quick for the day. They're fine. They're a really fun engine to interact with because they rev up quickly, and they generally sound nice, you know. Especially like the induction sounds great on the 4AGE, due to like the head design and whatever else. But this car is running custom long tube headers, and I'm talking like very long tube headers. It's like a 4 into 2 into 1, and it's like that. Jeez. You know, and that doesn't help you for torque at low RPM. That is a modification for high RPM, not low RPM. So you look at stock cars, they have really short headers because you want the torque to come on at a lower RPM. You know, you're running it at like, you're usually just puttering around. You want it to be efficient and, you know, air quote powerful in that range. Like you don't want it to be gutless in that range. So there's that. And the clutch grabs right at the top of the range, and it's like grabs like so the guy who sold it to my friend said like he usually would pull away from a stop at 3,000 RPM or more.
Wow.
And like slip the clutch at 3K.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's funny because like in my Suzuki, it's geared pretty low, and they also did a good job of the fueling and spark. Like the engine is pretty well tuned for lower RPM actually. And I can pull away from the stop. It's actually easier to pull away from a stop without using gas in my Suzuki than it is in my Mustang, where the engine is like over 2 times the size. So,
yes.
But yeah, there are modifications that are like, you know, are okay to deal with in terms of like a daily. I feel like hard mounted exhaust and you know, having a clutch that grabs that suddenly would be more challenging than just using a stock clutch. Yeah. An LSD that pops and bangs I can live with. Maybe like drift suspension is like, driving a slammed car is like not the greatest as a daily,
especially with all those speed bumps.
Yeah. So
is it all like angle kitted out and all that stuff?
Yeah, in the front, and there's definitely stuff going on for like the control arms in the back. You can kind of see something.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, the car's like not too low, and it does ride. It actually rides okay. It's not extremely rough. Like I've driven cars that were like even firmer than that, and like I don't want to deal with this. So, but yeah, like even just like driving a sporty car at all as a daily is like you do make compromises, but it's also like I feel like there is a sweet spot, you know, where it's like there are cars that aren't like, you know, you don't need to drive an SUV every day either. Like if you have a 4-cylinder sports car, that's almost more economical and a better compromise than driving like a big barge around every day.
Oh yeah.
So it would kind of depend on what your traffic situation is like, what your roads are like. Like, I don't know. What's have you ever had issues with your car and being like, this street is too rough that I drive on regularly?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah?
sure. Yeah,
Where?
especially around Vancouver.
Oh,
East
yeah.
Van, it's
East-
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
East Van side streets, rough roads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I was like glad that I lifted my Suzuki and put big tires on it. I'm like, when I lived in East Van, I was just like, I can just bomb around these roads now. It's fine. But even in stock form, you hit a good pothole and you're like, oh man, even in a stock car. So off-road mods for Vancouver are like a good way to go.
I know that there's one street in Vancouver, somewhere near Fraser, I think, and it's like I'm literally driving the car like this, like the road is sideways. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, like angled?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's sunk so much that
On the one side.
I'm just like driving basically sideways.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, don't go to East Van if you have a lowered car. If you do, drive with caution.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And especially not if you have a loud exhaust. You
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in terms of like, that's one of the interesting things with a drag car, you know, is, you know, if you, speaking of X275 class, like that, strictly from a tire perspective, the rear tire of an X275 car is a size that is comfortable on the street, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and most drag cars, like any drag car that is competitive, you know, like there's people racing donks, like donk drag racing. That's a thing, you know, 1100 horsepower donk with custom tires.
only in America.
But for a tire to stick, it needs to have like when you optimize for acceleration, you do want to allow the tire to deform. So to allow the tire to deform, you need enough sidewall for it to deform. And if you have a tire that deforms, you also have a tire that absorbs small bumps. So in a way, there are like performance modifications that, you know, if you buy like a modern car with its giant Hot Wheels tires, like giant rims and, you know, thin, low aspect ratio sport tires, you know, if you take like a modern sports car and you put smaller wheels on it and taller sidewall tires, it would ride better. And now you have a drag car that you've modified and it's better as a street car. Like you get both worlds, you know? So it would be cool to do like a little, we could do, I wonder like as we do these episodes, we could even have a little chart of like, what are things that where you have gains on multiple fronts? And it's like removing weight from the car helps you everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe getting more sidewall helps you with ride comfort and traction, you know, straight line traction. Because there are circumstances where you don't want the tire to deform under a side load and you might run less sidewall. But even still, like F1, they ran 13-inch wheels up until a few years ago. And when they went to 18s, like even some of the engineers were like openly saying, cool, so the cars will be slower on 18s than they were on 13s, but here we are. So yeah, maybe that'll be something that we can also explore
Yeah,
in BeamNG as well as they do their tire update.
Yeah,
once they're finishing that up.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think they're adding like tire wear and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting.
Finally getting tire wear
Yeah.
in BeamNG.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very accurate tire characteristics
Yeah.
from what it looks like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could experiment with some of these in the digital world and then try some of the things in the real world.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. We'll take note and
Take note.
hopefully update viewers in the future. So
Yep,
But
definitely.
yeah, this has been a great episode. Lots of cool information and stuff on this one. So yeah, no, it's been cool being here. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Catch you in the next one.
All right.